Hello, nerds. This is Poet Air, and this is the Nerds from the Underground YouTube page where me and Chess are going to be doing our picks of the week. These are my picks of the week of September 23rd, and I'm going to do it a little bit different this week. I'm going to go from lowest to highest because I think my number one pick is a very important piece, and everyone should read it immediately because it has a lot to do about just human rights and civil rights, and it's a fascinating read, and it really gives you a lot of information that you may have not previously had. But let's start off the list. My fourth pick is going to be Black Magic, number 14, by Greg Rucka and Nicholas Scott. If you're not familiar with this book, it's about Rowan Black, who is a witch and also a beat cop in a town in Oregon. She's been battling this group called the R. Lily recently, and this book really highlights how the R. Lily is attacking her best friend Alexandra and also kind of trying to seduce Rowan. And they're basically this ancient witches that are just all negative energy based and all about black magic, and they know how powerful Rowan is, so they've been kind of trying to attach themselves to her and also bring her power to their side. This issue really goes into her continuing and evolving relationship with Nicole, her partner, where now they become partners in more than just work, and also with Laurent having to leave back to Levesque. Laurent is an agent of Levesque, which the Levesque agency is kind of this French witchcraft agency that kind of monitors everything, and they have back matter in every book, which is about the points of Gilles Robert Dupont Levesque, who created the organization, and it's some great back matter. Nalo, I know you love that back matter, so at the end of every issue you get something that's like a chapter of a book. And I'm a fan of Halloween, and this is the perfect book for the Halloween season. It really gets you in the mood for it. I can't wait for October. We have a lot of cool stuff planned, me and Chaz, for Halloween and just horror stories in general. But to get some early action, I jump into Black Magic. The art by Nicholas Scott is absolutely beautiful. The way her gray and black tones are used to create this atmosphere and mood, it just really puts you in a setting in the book. It takes you away from wherever you are and puts you right into that world. And when color does appear on screen, it's for very important moments, usually involving magic, sometimes just involving a very important moment in the story. Once again, all of these characters are very strong female leads written by Rucka, which we all know that's kind of his strong suit. He does a great job here, as he does with every book. If you haven't been reading Black Magic, which someone just told me the other day they didn't even know about, you can get the first deluxe edition hardcover. It collects the first 10 issues and also the first 2 arcs. And that is available right now, and it's beautiful, and it even highlights Nicholas Scott's gorgeous art even more in that pristine format. My third pick is going to be Low 25 by Greg Tocchini and Rick Remender. And this is the penultimate issue. There's only one issue left after this, and it's really everything kind of coming to a head. If you're not familiar with this story, basically the surviving remnants of humanity were living in domed buildings underwater, and the main lead, Stella, has just this positive personality, and she thinks her positive outlook can change the world and also the environment around her. And the whole story has been about her trying to find this hope for humanity, and it's finally been found a while back that it's this planet, and she has the GPS coordinates for this planet. And at the same time, the last dome cities have crashed onto the burnt atmosphere of Earth, and the Burnt Legion, who are the enemies of the peace, are making their final attack on humanity. This is an epic issue with Stell just basically fighting it alone, trying to survive and get these coordinates to the rest of humanity so that they have a chance to survive. This whole series has been highlighted by huge ups and huge downs, which Remender has always been great with. And Tocchini's art is just beautiful. Every panel and page looks like a painting you could put on your wall. I'm sad to see it go, but also really excited for the conclusion when it comes next month. The series has been going on for about 5 or 6 years, and I can't wait to see how it all wraps up. Remender's endings have always been very interesting to me, so I'm looking forward to see if Stell can get that hope out and not be defeated. And if you're not familiar with this series, once again, this has a deluxe edition available, which is like all of our Mendes deluxe editions. It's huge. It's like this big. They got huge print. I own it, and it really, really showcases Tokini's art. It looks like he just put it on the wall right there because it's absolutely gorgeous. And it's a fantastic series. And if you're into series that are kind of post-apocalyptic about the last remnants of humanity kind of fighting to survive, this is definitely up your alley. And if you're just a fan of gorgeous art and really compelling storytelling also, get low with low. My third pick of the week, or my second pick of the week, is going to be the third issue of Bliss by Sean Lewis and Caitlin Yarsky. Everyone knows I've been raving about this book. I think this is Sean Lewis's masterwork. His collaboration with Yarsky is fantastic. Her art and his story really kind of build this world, which is like Frank Zappa meets H.P. Lovecraft. And in this issue, it's really about Leth, the Lovecraftian god who controls Pharaoh City. She pushes out this drug called Bliss. And years ago, Perry's father was basically hired by her lieutenants to push Bliss and then kill people that were against Leth. Perry's father is basically on trial, and Perry is defending his father, even knowing what his father has done in the past under the influence of Bliss and for Bliss. This issue is really the most action-packed of the series so far. Leth is sending out attacks against Perry and also one of her lieutenants who's betrayed her, who is a chubby, chain-smoking lizard. It's one of the many great creations Yarsky's done with her art. Her art's so creative. And at the same time, it's flashing back to where Perry's father is pushed by the lieutenants to murder his wife, or they're threatening to kill Perry. And the escape scene from Perry's household in Pharaoh City to Grandma's house, which is in farmland, is some of the most creative art I've seen in a while. Yarsky's doing some stuff that you don't really see, and it's awesome. It's just really unique, and I think not only is this Lewis's strongest book, it reminds me of old DC Vertigo books, but I also think that his collaboration with Yarsky is the strongest collaboration he's had so far. I hope they do many books in the future, and I also hope that Yarsky does a lot more in the future. Her art's fantastic. And if you haven't read Bliss yet, it's only 3 issues in. So either go to your LCS or go to Comixology and download them. It's fantastic. It's worth your time. It's worth your money. My number one pick of the week is going to go to one of the most fascinating reads I've read in my life, not just this year or week. And it's very important. It's about all of our personal rights and our freedoms and how they're slowly being taken away. And the book is called The Machine Never Blinks by Ivan Greenberg. It's illustrated by Everett Patterson and Joseph Canlis. It also has additional input by Iggy Stone and Ralph Nader. And Ivan kind of, through comic form, basically starts at biblical time and moves to current day about how we have lost all of our privacy and freedom to governments and how they have always kind of spied on us, from the creation of the Panopticon to J. Edgar Hoover's way he used the FBI to monitor people and monitor other candidates and monitor organizations. It talks about how they monitored and followed civil rights leaders like Martin Luther King and Malcolm X. And actually, on the night of his assassination, one of Malcolm X's guards, his actually top bodyguard, was actually an FBI undercover agent, which, I mean, that just speaks alone to what things that they will do. It also talks about the collaboration of the NSA and CIA with Facebook, Google, and Microsoft, about how they sell your data to the CIA and the NSA so that it's always monitored. And it also talks about their involvement in basically monitoring and destroying the Occupy Wall Street movement. The fact that Barack Obama, while he was saying he supported it, was also putting out government agents to monitor the Occupy Wall Street movement. And it also talks about how important, and why I own an iPhone, because phones are encrypted. The CIA and NSA still can't get your data from them. They've gone to court about this, and Apple refuses to let them get your data. So, I mean, if you have a phone besides an iPhone, just so you know, your data is constantly being monitored every day by the NSA and the CIA. And I know you'll say, I'm not doing anything, who cares? But it's about how we have been losing these personal rights since basically the beginning of time, but really since the 40s and 50s. That we no longer have privacy, we no longer have any real private space. Anything and everything we do is monitored closely every day. It's recorded not only through the internet and through online communications, but also through CCTV. And they have our faces, they have our data, they know what we're doing, and they're always watching. And as the book says, the machine never blinks. This book's very important. It opened my eyes and taught me a lot I didn't know about many subjects. I mean, and like I said, from like back into the Renaissance ages to modern day, about how privacy has been whittled away by those in power and how they control us and how they don't want us to have any personal rights or freedom. The book is amazing. It's so informative. It's from Fantagraphics. I highly recommend you order it either from their website or tell your LCS to order it. It's just such an important book. And like I said, not just of this week or of this year, but maybe ever. It will really open your eyes to how much freedom and privacy you've lost over the span of time, and how companies like Apple are some of the only ones that are fighting to still protect your personal and civil rights. So those are my picks of the week. As you may have heard, the podcast is going on a bit of hiatus, but me and Chaz will still be uploading stuff up here on YouTube. We do have planned for October, because it's my favorite month and Halloween's my favorite holiday. We're going to talk about our favorite EC horror stories. Me and him are big junkies on that stuff. We collect Fantagraphics collections of them, and we're going to try to do daily uploads each day of some of our favorite stories by people like Wally Wood, Al Feldstein, and Johnny Craig. You know, these horror titans. The books are beautiful. I can't wait to talk to you about them, especially people that aren't familiar with EC horror works. But anyway, these are my picks of the week. I really appreciate the support, and you guys are great. Be good to each other. Be good to yourself. Self-care and love is important just as much as showing it to others. Be good out there. Wash your hands. I'm Michael. I'm Poet Heir. I'll see you guys next week.